sitting alone here in my hotel with my family, all back at home, nestled up, in their beds, and yeah, here I sit, so brokenhearted, trying to poop, but only farted.
What is up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the 5-Star Jobbers Podcast. I'm Cody.
And I am lonely in a hotel room.
I know, we're in two different places right now. We're joining through Zoom. I wish, no, I'm not doing it. Not doing it. You can put it away.
It's virtual. It doesn't hurt if it's not, there's no skin-on-skin contact.
You can put it away. It's not going to happen. Put it down. It's not going to happen. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for listening, and thank you so much for watching our YouTube channel. I hope you've subscribed to it. If you haven't, you need to get with the program here because we got a lot of great content on here, and a lot more is going to be coming soon. But anyway, thank you to everybody that's been listening. If you haven't already, follow us on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. You can go check out all of our content and stay up to date on any upcoming events that are going to be coming up in the Southeast. Speaking of events, we've got something we want to let you know about that's going to be coming up. First off, March 2nd. Two big events that's going to be going on. First one, Guardians Legacy Victory at 7 p.m. at Rosenwald High School Gym. Make sure to check that out. Going to be a great event. Also happening March 2nd in the Dothan area. If you're in Dothan, NWA Hard Times. We'll be there. Going to get to take in a great event. We're super excited about it. I can't wait. Because I think they said this has been years since they've been in the Dothan area with NWA.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, but it's going to be awesome to actually have, the fantastic group of talent that's going to be there with EC3 and many more to speak of.
I think Kerry Morton and Ricky Morton will be there as well.
All right.
I'm not sure of anybody else yet. I'm probably missing a few.
Rock and roll.
Exactly. NWA Hard Times, 7 p.m. at the Dothan Civic Center in Dothan, Alabama. Be sure to check that out. Also, March 16th, Rose City Pro Wrestling at 7 p.m. in Thomasville, Georgia at the Salvation Army. Make sure to check that out. March 16th, Thomasville, Georgia. Also, I mentioned last episode on February 25th, which is today, which is when we're recording, Wrestle South has had their first event. I got to go take in that this afternoon, and it was an incredible event. Everybody was really welcoming there. I got to see our good friend Logan Stevens, got to see Xander King in action, also Johnny Romano, and it was just a great event all around. So thank you to everybody for putting that on. But their next event is going to be March 24th, same place at 1117 West Broad Avenue in the Brooks Plaza in Albany, Georgia at 3 p.m. I'm assuming it's going to be 3 p.m., but if not, there'll be updates on it in the weeks to come. March 24th, Wrestle South in Albany, Georgia. Also, March 30th, two big events going on. Southern Wrestling Tradition at 7 p.m. at the Possum Place in Wausau, Florida.
Wausau!
There we go. I hope that we're saying that right, but even if we're not, I'd love just hearing him say it like that.
Wausau!
I feel like we should be doing like the Dudley Boys thing. Wausau!
Wausau!
Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much.
March 30th, Southern Wrestling Tradition, Possum Place in Wausau, Florida, 7 p.m. Go check that out. Also, March 30th, Kraken Pro Wrestling coming to Tifton, Georgia at the Tiff Theater. If you want more information about that and you want to become a volunteer, you can reach out to them by email at krakenprowrestling2024@gmail.com. We're going to be there. It's going to be an incredible event. Go check it out. You're not going to want to miss it. Also, a little bit further away, but April 20th, DCCW's next event, Unbroken, going to be in McClenny, Florida at the Baker County Fairgrounds. Be sure to check that out. A lot of events coming up and a lot of things going on. So if you want your event promoted or if you want your event to be featured on our episodes here, reach out to us. You can reach us on social media. You can also reach us at the5starjobbers@gmail.com. Let us know of your events that's going to be coming up because we want to advertise it. We want to promote it. We want people to know of all the different promotions that's going on here in the Southeast and further. If you got any other events going on, let us know. But we want to get into Elimination Chamber. It was a good event, and we got a lot to talk about, a lot of things going on. So let's get into it, John. Overall, what did you think of the entire event? Because I've got my thoughts and opinions on it, but what have you got on your mind?
So first and foremost, I think as a production, as an event, it was fantastic. They really did a great job. In the setup, execution of everything. I mean, everything looked really, really good, really crisp. The crowd was hot. They were very engaged. I mean, so as far as that goes, I mean, you couldn't really ask for anything better. I mean, when Rhea Ripley came out, that was a pop.
Oh yeah,
That
big
was
pop.
that, and I'm sure that's what they were hoping for. Of course, I mean, the fact that I'll say this: Elimination Chamber, the main event was the women's championship match. I mean, like to say, so they really, you know, they really let Rhea have a good homecoming. Um,
Absolutely.
Now, overall, just like the ebb and the flow of the show, I mean, I felt it was pretty good. Um, but I can't tell you that any matches were that stupendous.
Yeah,
Um,
it was because we kind of had an idea, or we kind of felt like it was going to go the way that it went that night. Nothing
yeah, I mean,
really
I
surprised
don't think
us.
there weren't any surprises, and so maybe that could key into it.
Right.
Um, and also, here, this is just one of those things with Elimination Chamber, and I don't. There's no really way to fix it because like you have a pay-per-view that is right around the corner from your biggest pay-per-view of the year.
Right.
There's the Elimination Chamber is by its very nature like a super brutal match. And there's definitely some high spots like Lashley putting Owens and Paul through the plexiglass. I like Michael Cole trying to sell it like it's bulletproof glass every
Yeah.
time. That always cracks me up.
And it's like,
Uh,
not really.
nope, nope, no, it's not. It's plexiglass,
Yeah, that
and
very much plexiglass.
yep. And they're sitting there like at one point they were trying to talk about how hot and humid it gets in the pods, and it's not well ventilated. And the camera was showing it, and there's grates that they're standing on, and then you can see the open air flowing. And then
Yeah.
like one point, Logan Paul was sitting there, and his hair was
Yeah.
like the air was.
Exactly.
I was like, I'm calling bull crap on that one.
Yeah. Nice try, but didn't work.
No, so I mean, there's not really a whole lot you can do about it. I wish that Elimination Chamber could be at like a different time of the year to where like you could maybe have the wrestlers go a little harder. But I understand being very measured right around the corner from WrestleMania. You don't want some of your top talents getting hurt right before WrestleMania, especially with the season of injuries that we've had. So you've got Seth. You've got Seth that said on the pay-per-view that he's going to be legally or he's going to be medically cleared to wrestle. You've got Punk who's out for 4 to 6 months. So I mean, I get it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just felt like I don't know. I feel like the Elimination Chamber is just kind of like it's a cool structure, but they don't really explore this. They don't really explore the space that much more, anymore. It's like they have a match inside the chamber, and they do a couple things here and there, to remind the people, yeah, we're inside a steel chamber with grates and all this stuff. But I don't know. They're not as brutal as they used to be, and my bloodlust is not being it's not being fulfilled.
Yeah.
I have half a mind to go watch backyard wrestling, to get some juicy squeeze.
Or just watch GCW. Either one.
I could watch, yeah, GCW. No, it was good. There's no surprises, and the matches were kind of like they were good matches, but I don't think. I mean, like I said,
Yeah,
Lashley,
nothing really caught us by surprise, I would
yeah,
say.
Lashley spearing people through the plexiglass. I mean, Logan Paul's dive off the pod.
Right.
But I mean, really, yes, good matches, but not great. I mean,
Yeah.
nothing.
Because, I mean, like, well, we started off with the women's elimination. Yeah, I can't even get the words out. Women's Elimination Chamber match. And, of course, we know Becky's sure to win that one.
Yeah,
So, of course,
they
that
didn't even
sets
try to
up.
sell something different at that point. I mean, even the promo packages, it was like, Rhea versus Nia, and then someone's going to face Becky. It's like, oh, okay, so we're not even going to try to hold the cards to our chest here. We're pretty much. I mean,
Exactly. Like,
we should
this, they're
all
pretty
know it's going
sold
to be
on it.
Becky.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, Becky wins that. And then, of course, we get Rhea and Becky at WrestleMania, which is going to be a great match. Don't get me wrong.
I think
But
it is going to be a fantastic match. I hope Rhea wins.
same. Because, I mean, it doesn't really make sense unless they take it in a different direction for Becky to take the title off her. But she doesn't really need the title. Becky doesn't
No,
need that.
I don't think she needs the title. I mean, I'm not going to be mad with the Becky Lynch title run. I mean, Rhea's had the title for a year, so it would freshen things up. I get that, but I honestly, just because of the lack of competitors that have actually been able to challenge a Rhea Ripley believably, I don't feel like she's really gotten to stretch her arms and legs with that title. I think
Right.
she very much could have a much longer run. Bring some of the new talent from NXT in. Um, Try to build other wrestlers to maybe be able to challenge Rhea again. Like I'd like to see Rhea and Raquel, but not with Raquel where she's at right now.
No. Yeah. Not right
Raquel
now.
Rodriguez right now is a white meat baby face jobber.
Yeah.
Um, and if they can add some spice to her character, give her some dynamic, let her really have a personality. We've seen that match in NXT. We know that they can have a good match. Same thing with Shayna Baszler. Like there are people that Rhea can have matches with that she hasn't really gotten to have good matches with, and the fact that Rhea. I'm never going to get excited for a Nia Jax match. And, they, as much as they tried to have, they had Nia squashing Rhea at every turn, trying to make it look like Rhea was vulnerable. You couldn't sell me for 2 seconds that Rhea's going to go to Perth and lose in Australia to Nia Jax, of all people, before
Exactly.
WrestleMania. No,
Yeah. It's
no.
not going to happen. And then we moved on to the tag team titles with the Judgment Day defending against New Catch Republic, as they're calling themselves.
That's a weird name.
Yeah, I
Do
think
we
it
have
has
any
some.
understanding of what that means?
I think it has something to do with their tag team days of old, or because I
Okay.
know that Cole had made mention of that. But yeah, I don't know. I need to look into it a little bit further. But I think that had something to do with their prior history before coming to WWE. But this match, I don't know if you saw at the very end with Finn Balor, but I
The
think
finger?
yeah, his thumb like either was like popped out of place or something, and then he put it back in. But you could see
Yeah.
there was like a little gash across his thumb right there.
Yeah, no, there was a legit injury to the fingers there, obvious. And Finn Balor, ever the pro, pops it back in, goes back to work. Hopefully, being a finger, it's not going to make any major issues.
Right.
I can't see Finn Balor missing WrestleMania for a finger injury. So,
Yeah,
um,
exactly.
but I mean, that was a really good match. I'll say. I wasn't really expecting a whole lot from that match. Just because I don't think anybody thought they were gonna that Dunn and Bate were gonna win,
Right.
but they had a really good ebb and flow. Really
Oh
good
yeah, it was good
workmanship.
back and forth. Like everybody,
Yeah,
like there were moments where people thought that I mean it could happen, but yeah, at the end of the day, we
yeah.
all knew that Judgment Day wasn't going to drop the titles at Elimination Chamber in that setting.
So, have you heard the scuttlebutt about the blackout?
Oh yeah, because the whole front row of the crowd was giving Dom the finger, and so
Like, why did they black that out? Why
I
couldn't we see
know,
that?
right? I mean, like
I'm so irritated, but like the fact that they had to black out the screen for a couple seconds for Dom, man, like that, he's just getting like just epic nuclear levels of heat.
yeah,
And I finally see him like just being comfortable. Like he was sitting there on the ground and he was just being schmarmy and a jerk, and he was before he got kicked out or sent away. he's definitely, so he's gotten much more comfortable.
Right.
He looks, like he's enjoying himself in that role, which
Yeah.
is great. Um,
Like
they've
I
got to
will
figure
say
out
that
they've
I
got to
think
figure out how to do something with it though.
yeah. I mean,
Because
I
it's
will
like
say
at this
like where
point,
he's at right now, I would say that he's probably like one of the top 3 heels in the business.
yeah. And like I said, he's top 3 heel in the business. So what do you do with it? Because it's like his heat is, you know, sometimes kind of washed. Like sometimes his heat gets on the Judgment Day, you know, but really the Judgment Day is a really interesting faction. And the fact that they're not heels, they're not faces, like
It's like
and
it's
different.
like people are confused as to whether to cheer or boo them. Like
Yeah.
everybody cheers for Rhea Ripley, but then
Yep.
you have Finn and Damian, and then JD and Dominic Mysterio. It's you're not really sure where to
I'd
go.
say Finn and Damien, it's like half and half.
Excuse me.
Sometimes they get cheered, sometimes they get booed. Dom and JD, but really just Dom is the only one that's getting consistent, definite boos.
Right.
So yeah, it's an interesting faction in the fact that you say you've got someone who's over like Rhea Ripley, uh, in a positive way, even though she's supposed to be a heel,
Right.
but she's just so cool that people, it's like The Rock in '99.
Exactly.
It's like they're supposed to be a heel, but the crowd just like they're just so cool that the crowd can't help but like them and be bought in. And then to say like Finn and Damien, they're once again kind of cool. Like they're bad guys, they're jerks, but sometimes they're funny. And
Right.
to say like Finn Balor's Finn Balor. I mean, I don't like people are never gonna hate Finn Balor.
Exactly.
Uh, so like Dom's got that heat, and I just like, okay, what can we do with it? Because he's got it, but it's not like he can talk on the mic because they won't. I mean, the crowds do not let him talk. He's figured out how to be a really schmarmy heel around the ring. It's like he's almost more of a manager than a wrestler at this point.
Right.
So it's like I said, I'd like to see them do something. Like when he had the NXT title, the North American Championship, that was great
Yeah.
because he's regularly having matches, and it didn't matter who he was having a match with. The crowd wanted the other person to win.
Right.
I'd like to see him get a title on him. Obviously he's not going to get the IC title or the US title anytime soon. So it's a hard situation, but yeah, I just feel like with as much heat as he has, they're not really getting to cash in on all that heat with
Right.
him just kind of being a side piece to the Judgment Day.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we'll see where he goes from there. And then we have the Grayson Waller effect, where you have Grayson Waller and Austin Theory with Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes as the guests on it. I mean, the segment was
This
good up until the end.
this
Had
really
a
fell
horrible
flat to
finish.
me. Yeah, horrible finish. Nothing was surprising.
Because I
Nothing
mean, it was like,
was
did we see a Grayson
new.
Waller face turn there? But it's like it didn't really make sense. The only thing that was good in it, and the fact that Cody challenged The Rock.
Well, I mean, yeah, Cody challenged The Rock, and then Seth came and said, you won't be alone. But we already heard that promo 2 Mondays ago. Um,
But then
and
it's
then
kind
to
of
say,
like,
yeah,
well, then it kind of begs the question: like, are we going to see Cody and The Rock 1-on-1, or are we going to see Cody and The Rock go against each other in a tag match where you have Cody and Seth, and then The Rock and Roman Reigns?
I think it's def. I mean, it's the Cody said something, and then Seth immediately followed back up to make sure that it was understood that you know it's not going to be a one-on-one. And maybe it is a one-on-one, but with each other having somebody in their corner, but it doesn't. At that point, it's just like, why not just have a tag team match?
Right.
Because
Well, and then plus it's probably because I mean maybe that same night will be when Seth Rollins defends his title against Drew McIntyre, but we'll get into that here in a little bit. But
yeah, I
yeah,
mean,
I
at the end,
mean,
like I don't know. I mean, obviously, you'd think that that's WrestleMania. I mean, they could choose to do something separate. Maybe Backlash or something like that. I don't know. Um, I based on the WrestleMania promo that we saw during Elimination Chamber, I would say we're definitely going to see Seth and Cody versus Rock and Roman in some way, shape, or form. I just, to me, I don't know how you have those two matches and make it make sense, or have it be realistic, because
I mean,
obviously
I guess.
you'd have to have the tag team match first, but it's like, yeah, you've got two champions that are going to be in tag team matches before their championship battles at WrestleMania.
Well, I
And
mean, I
like
guess they could probably have implications on the line where, say, if Cody wins, if Cody and Seth wins, then the bloodline is banned from ringside. If Roman The Rock wins, then Cody has nobody in his corner.
maybe. I mean, I get that. No, you can definitely do the stipulations. It's just honestly thinking about the actual talent themselves and the feasibility of that. It's like you've got two guys that are going to put on a WrestleMania main event quality pay per view 2 nights in a row, and I mean, stipulations and all, whatever. You're going to have. Are you really going to have The Rock and Roman Reigns lose on night one and kind of tip your hat to Cody winning the next night?
No, see, I
Or
think that's where
do you
they'll have
have
The
The
Rock
Rock?
and Roman Reigns win because the deck is already stacked against Cody as it is because you've got the bloodline, then you've got Cody and Seth. So the deck is
Did The
already
Rock and
stacked
Roman
against
Reigns
him.
win night one and then have Cody win night two against, you know, against Roman because, other people come out and help. Like I get that. That makes sense. Or maybe, The Rock and Roman lose night one, but then Cody loses night two.
So
Then there might be
you can't do
riots.
that.
I think there
You
would be
can't do
riot. I
that.
think there would be riots. Like that's the problem. Is at this point
Exactly.
the "We Want Cody" movement has kind of hijacked, and not in a bad way, because we want Cody to finish the story. It makes sense for Cody to finish the story. Like I don't think anybody has a real problem with it. Like I was fine with Rock Roman because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, Cody can finish the story anytime. It doesn't have to be at WrestleMania. But the "We Want Cody" movement took over, and so now it's like I get that people want Cody, but do you really want to have so much control over creative that they're backed into a corner and they can't give you anything like different than what you would think that might be better? And not to
Right.
say that they could. I'm just saying, like, at this point, creative is kind of backed into a corner where it's like, yeah, we know Cody. At this point, I don't think anybody's going to be surprised if Cody wins the title in night two. And it's like, that should be a big moment. Roman Reigns has had the title for like almost 3 years.
Well,
Um,
almost like I said, like they'll probably have the deck stacked so high against Cody that it almost seems like everybody's going to say, well, then maybe he's not going to be able to do it. Maybe it's going to be Roman again. Maybe it's going to be another repeat of last year's WrestleMania.
uh,
But I don't know. That's just me like thinking at it from different angles. But at this point, I don't know for sure because I mean we're still weeks away from WrestleMania.
no,
So
we still are weeks away, and there's a lot that could happen. It's just like as of right now, it seems like there's a lot already written on the walls. And just like with Elimination Chamber, it's like the sooner you know what the finish of something is going to be, the less entertaining it is when it happens.
right,
Um, and so
but we'll just have to see. I
yeah,
mean,
we'll have to see. I would really like I'd like to be surprised, honestly. And I don't want to be surprised by bad booking, but with the minds that are behind the scenes there between Rock, Brian Gewirtz, Triple H, Road Dogg, all the people that are like, I got to think there are some great enough minds to be able to pull a rabbit out of the hat and surprise us.
I'm sure they'll come up with something because I mean, like we said before in previous episodes, now is the point in WWE where we're not really sure of what's going on because we'd like to think that we know how the story's going to go with how things have gone so far. But there's been so many change ups and there's been so many things that have kind of thrown curveballs in our direction that it's just like well, maybe we don't really know what's going to happen, or maybe we genuinely are going to be surprised with everything. So I mean, it could happen, but like I said, we'll just have to play it by ear and just see how the weeks go leading up to WrestleMania. And then you have the men's elimination chamber match where Drew McIntyre wins. I mean, we knew it was going to happen because I mean it didn't really make sense for anybody else to win it other than Drew McIntyre.
No, I mean, I knew Drew was going to win once I saw his face on the screen. After Punk got hurt and they had Drew come out and cut that promo, it was obvious that Drew was he was going to be the world heavyweight champion contender. Now I don't know that means he's going to win though.
Right.
And honestly,
Now let me ask you this, because like I literally just thought of this like a second after we were talking about this, but going back into the Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins against Rock and Roman, what if this could be another curveball that they throw at us? CM Punk comes back during the match between Drew McIntyre and Seth Rollins, but costs Seth the title.
either way, I'm fine with it. Like
Because
I
then
would
that
like
builds
to
back
see.
their
I'd
rivalry
like to
again.
see because there's a potential rivalry between both CM Punk and Drew McIntyre and Seth Rollins. And at the end of the day, it's just give me both, but give it to me in a way that it builds the one into the other. I truly do think if I can't get Seth Rollins and CM Punk at WrestleMania right now, I'd rather have CM Punk come back and fight Drew McIntyre, in a lead up to like SummerSlam or something like that, and then later on, maybe the next WrestleMania or Royal Rumble or Survivor Series, then give me Punk versus Rollins.
Right.
But with the way that Drew came out, said that promo, they're absolutely going to have a receipt match, a receipt rivalry for CM Punk to come back. So for him to cost Drew the title at WrestleMania would be fantastic. For him to want to cost Drew and then he cost Seth instead, and then his rivalry with Seth is even higher. I'm cool with that too.
Either way they go with it, it's golden. Because I mean, match with CM Punk and Drew McIntyre is great. Match with CM Punk and Seth Rollins is good. So either one is good. It's going to be a great alternative. And then going into the main event, Nia Jax versus Rhea Ripley.
So I was surprised that this was the main event. I was kind of thinking at one point, I was like, this should be this. I thought that this would be the curtain jerker.
Right.
I really, truthfully, I thought this was going to be the first match of the night. And then they'd have like the women's elimination chamber, and then they'd have the men's be the final. So when the men's elimination chamber match came on before the main event, I was like, oh, they're straight up doing it.
Yeah. Which I mean, I get it. I mean, she's in her home country of Australia.
Yeah.
I mean, the pop is going to be enormous, which it was.
And pop was enormous. I mean, and her story is just super cool. I mean, the fact that, that's her first time back wrestling in front of her home crowd since she was like an indie nobody.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, I'll go on record and say that probably currently right now, she's my favorite female wrestler currently right now.
Yeah, 100. I'm 100% with you on that same tree. There's nobody that's doing the way that she's doing it right now. She's, like I said, she's cool. Like she's a cool character. Even if you're not a wrestling fan, people, let's say, she's getting to that level, let's say, where she's superseding the wrestling population, and people know Rhea Ripley outside of professional wrestling. I'm your mommy. Mommy's always on top. Stuff like that. She's cool. She's a strong female. She's not. They don't present her like with Chyna. It was like Chyna was for a long time was like a female that's a dude.
Right. Like she could hang in the ring with the guys. I mean, Rhea Ripley could do the same.
Rhea's never been presented like a dude. Like she's never been presented like one of the guys. She's always been like she's female. She's feminine, but she's also tough and strong, and she doesn't take any crap off anybody. She's a leader. She's a powerhouse in the ring, but she's not. She's got a great work rate. A lot of times with your big powerhouses, they're clunky and they don't move around well. She moves great. She's good on the mic. She knows how to work the crowd. she's got presence, and it was
Absolutely.
funny. When the entrance happened and when she came out and like everything was going on, she had that moment where like she was getting lost in the moment and
Yeah.
she caught herself and you could see her visually catch herself and like go back to doing her thing, like still taking it in, but not being overwhelmed or overcome by the moment.
Right.
And like I say, that's just that love. That's that different level of professionalism right there. That's that. Let's say it allows her to stay in character and be and perform. So she really is. She just at a different level. I think that there's no reason to take the title off her. I mean, maybe just to change things up a little bit, but like I said, there's still plenty to do with her as the champion.
100%.
Um, like I said, she's just on a different level. Like there's not a whole lot of women. I mean, stands for like I say, Becky Lynch. Um,
I mean,
there's really
if
not
they
anybody.
decide to go the Jade Cargill route, I mean, that would be a great match. But honestly, I think they're going to save that for Bianca Belair.
Yeah, yeah, I think you're right on that. Like I said, I think that Rhea has a lot of opponents that she could have. Like I say, they just have to build the opponent right because I say Rhea's already canned. You don't need to change Rhea for this situation. If you can make freaking clunky loser Nia Jax look like a competitor, you can make anybody else look like a competitor.
Exactly.
And I'll say go to the match. The match was good. What did you think?
I mean, yeah, it was good for what we were able to get out of it. I mean, Rhea Ripley is incredible in any setting. I mean, it's just Nia Jax. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
yeah. She
hard to
put
watch
someone.
her. It's hard to watch her in any kind of match because it's just like those situations where you got the giants and you got those people that just don't really move very well, and
Yep.
it's just very clunky. But I mean that's just how it is. And so I mean, Rhea
Yeah. I
Ripley
say
did
they.
good. I mean, I just don't like that they had to put this whole thing where Nia Jax kept squashing her throughout the match, which I get it. She's a powerhouse. She's dominant. She's torn through pretty much all the women in the division. But yeah, I mean, just making Rhea Ripley look like less dominant than she already is. I don't know. It should have been like evenly matched between the two.
Yeah.
Where
I
it should have
def-
been more 50-50, whereas it looked like it was a lot of like I'd say 70 or 30 or 60-40.
Yeah. I get where you're coming from on that. I think they were trying to genuinely, get the, Rhea to almost seem. The problem is that you can't really get Rhea to seem like an underdog. They were trying to get Rhea to seem like an underdog, but because of the way that she is, and let's say because of the way that she presents,
Right.
she's never an underdog. Really, like she's really not believable. And so what happens is by trying to get credibility on the other wrestler, you're taking from her bank.
Right.
Like I said, whereas like I said, my favorite Rhea Ripley rivalries to this day, and I've said it multiple times, is Rhea versus Shayna.
Absolutely.
The way that their match for the NXT Women's Title went, neither one of those women looked weak.
No.
It wasn't like you didn't need either one to be the underdog.
No.
Uh, Shayna wasn't the underdog. Rhea wasn't the underdog. I mean, some people might have said Rhea was the underdog just because Shayna had the title for like over a year, like a year and a half, almost 2 years at that point. But it's like I said, that's where
Mm.
Rhea's at now.
Yeah.
Like you can have matches with women like Rhea and a Shayna or Rhea and a Zoe or like say, give me anybody like Rhea and an Io Sky, where toughness nobody has to be less tough or nobody has to like with Nia Jax. She's a one trick pony.
Yeah.
It's big brutal movements like that's it.
Exactly.
Like a punch to the face, a Vader bomb,
Yeah.
a leg drop. Like
That's it.
that's it. Um, and if this were the 1980s, she'd be the queen of the ring.
Right.
But it's 2024, and there was only one Andre the Giant. Um, uh, she's not the Giant. She's not 7 feet tall. She's not 500 pounds. She doesn't have an undefeated streak. Undefeated streak. That lasts for years and years and years and years. Um, we've seen Nia job out left and right and left and right, and then come back, and then she's supposed to be just this completely brutal person, but nothing's changed about her.
No, it just doesn't make sense.
No, and that's the frustrating part. Is like I said, this was a main event match. Like Rhea deserved to have the main event, and it was a good, decent match. But if Rhea would have had a better dancing partner, this would have been a much cooler event. Like this would have been a much cooler main event. It would have been much cooler for her, to like I said, to have a match that was good from bell to bell and wasn't, her just feeding and feeding and feeding until finally, having an opportunity for a go home, basic Hulkamania, Hulk up and win.
Exactly.
You know,
I mean, it was good overall. Just another Nia Jax match where it's very clunky, but Rhea Ripley made up for it, and the pop that she got from it, from bell to bell, it put the match over more than it probably would have if it was in any other setting.
Like I said, that crowd was great.
Oh yeah,
that
absolutely.
crowd was great from beginning to end. Even when necessarily the show wasn't great, they were enjoying every minute of it. And
that's why I always say, like, a crowd has a big influence on how a match can look. Because I mean,
100%.
if you look at Australian crowds or British crowds or even Japanese crowds, like any crowd, like in a different setting, like the culture is so different, and their reactions to it are so different.
The Japanese are really, that's a really hard. That's why Japanese wrestling is not a big winner on TVs, because the Japanese crowds are silent during the matches. They don't talk.
Right.
They don't.
They look at it as a performance. They look at it as something that you take in, like if you go to a ballet performance or if you go to the opera or whatever it may be. Like it's very much held with a lot of respect and a lot of dignity. Where, like, there's certain moments where it's like it's universally okay to clap or like in that universal setting. But yeah, I mean it's different anywhere you go. But the crowd,
a good crowd can make a mediocre segment seem okay, which is, like I said, the Grayson Waller effect segment. That was kind of crap.
Yeah,
but the crowd was good, so it made it seem like it wasn't as much of a crapshoot as it was.
Exactly.
But really, that was a terrible segment. It didn't help Cody. It didn't help Seth. It didn't help Grayson. It didn't help Austin. I'm curious about the Austin Theory. Like, I know there's probably been a good amount of making him earn it because he was a Vince boy. Like, but it's like
I honestly don't know.
Like Triple H is still the guy that probably brought him in the company. I mean, he started in NXT. He was in NXT for a long time. And not to say that he's not getting work, because he's still getting work, but like he's been booked into obscurity. I mean, he's basically, at the Dolph Ziggler, Kurt Hawkins level of, at this point now, you have no expectation that he's going to win anything. So there's no reason to care whether he's a face or a heel, to care about his presence.
Exactly.
So I don't know that there's just the great
something needs to change.
Austin Theory. Grayson Waller and Austin Theory, just that combo. It's like it could be really good, but for some reason it hasn't really taken off. Yeah. And then to say with segments like that, I was just like, you've got Cody and Seth. You got probably your two biggest faces in the entire company. Why did we need Grayson? I mean, and Grayson, well, I guess is because we're in Australia. And then, and I'll say this: Grayson did a pretty good job of laying out and not trying to take up on Seth and Cody. But I just honestly, like, you could have done the Grayson Waller effect with somebody else,
and just left Austin Theory in the back.
And let's say, let Seth and Cody have done their own thing separate.
Yeah.
It fell flat. Like I said, it didn't help anybody. It didn't move any story along.
No,
it just ate time. And truthfully, maybe that's all it was supposed to do. But I don't know. I wouldn't have paid for Cody Rhodes or Seth Rollins to come all the way to Australia to eat time.
Right, exactly. But I mean, overall the event was good. I mean, we knew a lot of things that were going to happen. It was just basically a setup for WrestleMania, which is usually what it is. But Yeah,
And WrestleMania is set up. I mean, look at it as it is. You know, Becky. We know it's going to be Becky versus Rhea. We know it's going to be Drew versus Seth. We know we're going to get Cody versus Roman, with Rock involved in some way, shape, or form with the tag team or not. That's still to be determined. We know the Judgment Day will have the tag titles going into WrestleMania. So whether that's going to be they're going to fight DIY in a one-on-one, or they're going to have DIY and a bunch of others in like a could be a four-way tag team title. They love doing those at WrestleMania. I don't personally like them, but
yeah,
they happen all the time. Not really. I say we definitely know that we're going to see LA Knight versus AJ Styles
definitely.
now, given the way Elimination Chamber worked for LA Knight. And someone needs to tell AJ the black beard dye does not look good on him.
It's not working.
Well,
Yes,
he's putting it on a little too thick. It's
yeah,
coming off like.
like eggplant colored almost.
Yeah, it was. I saw him and I was just like, "Whoa,
Yeah,
okay,
it's like there's nothing
all
wrong with a little
right."
bit of gray. I mean, just let it through and just let it look natural. But yeah, nobody wants to see an eggplant colored beard.
Yeah, no, it was. Yeah, it was off putting. But yeah, no. So we'll get LA Knight versus AJ Styles in some kind of match. That should be entertaining. Both those guys are great performers. Um,
Possibly, we may see Logan Paul and Randy Orton at WrestleMania.
it looks like it could go either way there, doesn't it? Like it's.
Yeah,
I mean, either KO and Logan Paul, or I say KO Logan Paul Randy. Um, you know,
either way, it'd be a great match for either one.
Yeah, I mean, what was up with the Randy? I guess Randy was just trying to take it easy and have an easy night, because he was selling that back injury the whole night, and
Yeah, I
for
don't know if
him to
that
be
was a
selling
work
like
or if that
that,
was just yeah. I don't know. He just wasn't really.
I think that's just good selling. But like I say, like if he wanted an easy night, he could have taken the Bobby Lashley way and gone out in the first pinfall. Let Bobby have been the last one to get pinned.
Right.
Uh, Yeah, he was selling that back really well, and to the point, where a lot of places were like, was he actually hurt? But I mean, I don't know. I guess I've watched it enough times to know when he's selling, and then when he goes into a move and does something, and he's just fine. That he's probably pretty tough. But if he's just fine, and then he does the move, and then he goes back to selling again, it's a sell job.
Right.
But yeah, no, that was another thing about the Elimination Chamber that I just kind of was like, all right, Randy's having an easy night tonight, which I get it. WrestleMania is coming around. He's just got off of a, year plus long back injury rehab. You know, he's not trying to hurt himself before the biggest payday of the year. I get it. And that's why I said, like, I kind of wish they put the Elimination Chamber somewhere else.
Right.
But yeah, that was a long sell job.
Yeah.
I didn't.
But I mean, we hadn't heard any injury reports or anything, so I'm guessing that it was probably just him taking it easy for the most part. Because I mean, like you said, he's trying to maintain the longevity of his career, which I don't know how much longer he has left. So we'll just have to see. But yeah, I mean, I think he was just probably taking it easy for the most part because, like we
I think
said,
he was.
the only injuries we heard was Finn Balor's thumb. So hopefully it just stays that way.
So yeah, I say at the end of the day, we've got our tag team match. Like I said, IC title. It's anybody's bet right now who they're going to try to have against Gunther. I'm still saying that, I said after Royal Rumble that it would be really good if they had Braun Breaker. But just the way that the booking is gone, I mean, they could still do that. I mean, they've got, 3-4 weeks more than that.
I don't know, because I feel like they may be going a different direction with Braun Breaker, but I don't know.
Well, yeah, because right now he's got the NXT tag titles with Baron Corbin. So yeah, I just don't see that happening.
Right.
So I'm not really sure who they're going to have challenge.
They may. I don't know. It probably will be a flop, but if they try it again, but the whole Chad Gable segment, I mean, it worked well when they had it going, but I've heard that they may try and revive that and have Chad Gable face him again at WrestleMania.
And I love Chad Gable. He's one of the most underrated performers that WWE has right now. But I almost like that. That feels like one of those. Once again, it's like a forced happy moment.
Yeah.
Like when they just give the guy the title so he can win it at WrestleMania, but it's going to go off. I'm like a week later.
Right.
Like I want to see Chad Gable fight Gunter and win, but I don't want it to be a one off. I want it to mean something, and I want them to actually fully push Chad as more than just a good hand.
Yeah.
But right now that's what he is. There's no shame in it. He's making money. He's doing good stuff with him and Otis and the Alpha Academy. But I don't know, like that with that guy with his work rate. I mean, his ability to be a heel, be a face, do everything that he's shown the ability to do. He's a top tier talent. If you just let
Absolutely.
him be.
Definitely. All right, John, you ready for some reviews?
Isn't that what we've been doing this entire time?
Well, I mean, we've done reviews on Elimination Chamber, but I'm talking about for reviews for the whole week.
If we weren't separated by hundreds of miles right now, I'd slap you.
I'm glad we're separated by that right now.
I'd
So
at least kick you from under the table.
either one. But anyway, so as far as high spots and botches go, I didn't really have a specific botch per se for this week. But high spot for me, I had a couple, but my main one was the promo that Wardlow gave on Dynamite.
That was that was a good promo.
I have been waiting for him to say that because everybody that is a true wrestling fan feels the exact same way. Like he has beaten Samoa Joe, he's beaten MJF, he's beaten CM Punk. He is a dominant individual, and he could be a great world champion. But the fact that he's being utilized with all these different factions and being pretty much resolved to the same kind of thing where he just squashes a jobber every single week, it's ridiculous. And he's been doing that for years now. And so
I agree, but here's my only problem with that. How does that promo at this moment and this time make any sense with him being a member of the Undisputed Kingdom?
It doesn't. Like he needs to just tear away from that group.
Fantastic promo. But from out of nowhere, and where are they going to go with it? Like, is he going to, are you telling us right now? I mean, are you out of the Undisputed Kingdom? Are you telling us right now that if you win the title that you're not going to give it to Adam Cole? How's Adam Cole going to respond to that?
I mean, I would hope that either at some point during the match or after the match at Revolution that he would just come out and lay waste to everybody. Hangman Adam Page, Swerve Strickland, and Samoa Joe, and just set it up for him and Joe to go one-on-one for the title.
I'm totally fine with that. I say it just doesn't make sense in the context of where they've put him.
Right.
Like I said, they could be pivoting, they could be changing because they realize this Undisputed Kingdom thing's not working, which that's somebody else's failure because by all intents and purposes, the Undisputed Kingdom should work perfectly. It's just bad booking. You can't get anything to work well when you book horribly. But I will say, I know Dynamite was actually watchable this week. Yeah. And the Wardlow promo was a big part of the watchability. I swear at this point, if I get one more AEW Dynamite that opens with a Jon Moxley match with zero context whatsoever, I'm just like, I'm done.
That's probably going to be the opener for this week.
That guy has 20-minute matches every single Wednesday, and he's killing himself to get the product over. But it's just like it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how good a Jon Moxley match is when it means nothing.
Right. It's just a match to have a match. Like bring back the international title matches where Orange Cassidy defends it at the top of the hour. Because I mean that had merit to it. That had stakes on the line. But I mean, I will say though, probably my botch for this week is that Dynamite's going to be in Huntsville and they're going to be in Tallahassee.
Wow.
It's Sting's last Dynamite. I'd love to be there for that.
I mean, I'd like to be there for Sting's last stuff. So the AEW of it at this point, I don't care so much about. But yeah, the Sting of it, I do. I say we talked about this. If it wasn't for it being Sting's last match, I wouldn't even be watching Revolution at this point. I guess I can say I'm tied into Deonna Purrazzo and Tony Storm's stuff, but I know Tony's winning.
Surprisingly, I'm actually kind of tied into Christian Cage and Daniel Garcia's match. I mean,
That was a decent. That was a decent promo from Daniel, and I mean, a classic Christian doing his Christian thing. So like I said, part of the Dynamite. Yeah, that was another part. I say Dynamite's actually was watchable this week. I could be interested in that. I'm not fully bit into it just because I see it as just as a squash match with a transition for another Adam Copeland run in.
right.
Um,
Well, I mean, Adam Copeland's actually on the shelf right now, being injured. I don't know what the injury
so
is
is that
per se.
legit? Are we believing that's legit? That's not storyline injured?
I don't know. I want to say that it's probably storyline. But I don't know
Okay,
for
because that's
certain.
what I feel like. I feel like it's storyline injured. I haven't seen any publications like verifying an actual injury with an actual diagnosis and timeline. So until I see that, I always just it's Adam's just written off TV for a couple weeks because he's an older wrestler and gets to have that schedule.
Right.
But yeah, I mean that match could be good. I'd guarantee you that they're gonna, like I said, it's not gonna be as good as it could be because it's not gonna be a full on Christian versus Daniel Garcia match. It's gonna be, schmaz finish with the patriarchy, and like I said, Adam Copeland return, and people will pop because he's been gone for 3 weeks.
Right.
Not really sure how I feel about the whole Ric Flair thing with the Bucks.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what that's about either.
Yeah, so
I mean, does that mean that Flair's going to try and be involved in the match in some way,
that
or
or it's just the most obvious. It's the most obvious red herring, and it's just if Flair trying to act like he's going to be with the Young Bucks so he can turn on the Young Bucks and help Sting. Because how apropos would it be for Sting's final match for someone to actually turn on somebody else in his favor?
Right, exactly.
Because let's say his entire career has been people turning on him.
Right. I mean,
So
it could happen, but I don't know if AEW or Tony Khan's that smart enough to book it like that.
I can't disagree with your thought on that one.
Exactly. I'm waiting for you to be like, hold on. But anyway, what have you got for your high spots and botches this week, or
I
if
guess,
any?
yeah. I mean, honestly, let's say high spot. Truthfully, yeah, I got to say the Wardlow promo was probably in the high spot area. You know, there wasn't, there wasn't really any matches that I felt that were like absolutely superb this week.
I will say that the Intercontinental title match on Raw was between Gunther and Jey Uso. It was actually pretty good.
I mean, it was good. It was good. I mean, I knew that once again, it's like I would have rather that been at Elimination Chamber, and had it been at Elimination Chamber, I would have thought maybe Jay could have won.
Right.
But when they put it on Raw, I knew that somebody's visa's messed up, and they're having that match because somebody can't travel to Australia. That's the only reason they had that match.
Right.
And so when you realize that it's just like a work through, you're like, okay, that they're not. No one's winning the title. There's no title change happening right here. So,
right.
But that's unavoidable. That just is what it is. But yeah, no, honestly, in the words of the great MJF, this week was mid.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, but most of it was all a leeway into Elimination Chamber, so there wasn't really anything great happening or anything big going on, and so.
Well, I expected the Elimination Chamber. Like I said, I think that maybe fooey on me. I expected Elimination Chamber to go a little bit bigger since they were traveling all the way to the other side of the world, and having an event in Australia that they don't do a lot. Like I say, the event was spectacular. The production was spectacular, but truthfully, the matches were 3 stars. Good day at work. Not a great day.
Wasn't amazing. Wasn't horrible. So it's just like you said, it was mid.
Yeah, it was mid, and there's nothing wrong with mid. We've had a really crazy kick off to the year 2024 in professional wrestling with everything that's gone on. So, a little mid, it dabble do you,
Yeah,
because you
it
got to
gives
go
us time
down
to
and get brought back
unwind,
up.
just kind of like just bring us down a little bit, and then we start to go on another roller. It's pretty much going on a roller coaster right now. We're in the downward slope, and we're about to go back up for WrestleMania.
But I'll say a high spot that hasn't happened yet. But so, like as we're talking right now, the new season of WWE Rivals and WWE Biography are
Yes,
kicking off on A&E on Sunday nights, and those are really well done, and I really, really enjoy them. So anybody who's watching, and if you're not already watching them, you probably are. But if you aren't, Sunday nights, WWE Biography, WWE Rivals, fantastic stuff. Really,
absolutely.
really good. Well done. I mean, it's like nothing too salacious. It's not like Dark Side of the Ring. Where they're really going to get down and dirty on somebody, but a lot of good information that every episode, as much as I consider myself a wrestling historian, there's always tidbits that I'm like, oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
So
same.
it's good. I really enjoy watching that. I'm sitting alone here in my hotel with my family, all back at home, nestled up, in their beds, and yeah, here I sit, so brokenhearted, trying to poop, but only farted. Uh, but here I sit, so all alone. I'm gonna watch some wrestling. Want a bone?
Okay,
No, no.
yeah, you took it too far. You
I
took it too far
tried and I failed,
miserably.
but I failed spectacularly.
I don't know if we put it that way, but you failed definitely.
I was the man in the arena and not just a spectator.
My gosh. But anyway, did you have anything as far as a botch for this week, or anything that was just like
Botches is
kind of upset?
the John Moxley 20-minute match to start off AEW for the 19th time in a row.
Yeah,
And like I said, John Moxley and Claudio Castagnoli versus FTR, fantastic freaking match. Fantastic match, and
yeah,
honestly, good breakaway and everything. But I swear to Bob, the entrance music for AEW at this point could be Wild Thing.
it honestly could. And
Like
Bill, if you're
I
watching
hate that
this,
I
I hope
watched
that
a
you
match
don't
that's.
send letters to Tony Khan advocating for that.
I'm just like, you're giving me fantastic matches, but they don't mean anything. Now, at least with this FTR thing, it looks like they're building towards Revolution. But like, and had this been a couple weeks ago, it would have been a completely different story. But it's like after the umpteenth John Moxley 20-minute opening match, as good as this match was, it was like it came like a little too late.
Yeah,
So I mean, maybe I'm nitpicking. Maybe I'm just being an old miser, but I don't know. I like a little diversity with my curtain jerkers,
same.
and I also like when guys like John Moxley and Claudio Castagnoli and FTR, when they have a match, I feel like that's a main event level match.
Yeah,
Um, and you could have had the pull away to end the night. Like you could have had the them fighting as the cameras were going off, and that leaves me as a viewer in suspense. Like, oh, what's going to happen next week? I got to watch, as opposed to having it at the very beginning of the show, and by the time the show's over, there's already so many other things that have happened. I'm like, oh yeah, that did happen at the beginning of the show.
right.
So, like I said, that's my botch is just it's not with any one particular thing, but it's just the booking of AEW. There are great talents. There's great workmanship. There are people who can cut promos. There's lots who can't. Storyline is, I would say, as of last week, I'd say non-existent. As of this week, I'd say it's got a pulse. Um, you know, it's on hospice care. Uh,
Yeah,
but just the booking. I mean, AEW has become really good at giving me things that I like in ways that I do not like, so that I cannot enjoy them.
exactly. It's all great matches, but there's no reason as to why.
Yeah.
Like it's
Well,
just
there's
there.
and there's no reason as to why I should care.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I don't care if you've got Daniel Bryan versus Godzilla.
It's like, why are they fighting? Why should I care enough to watch this?
Yeah, like it's there's got to be some level of storytelling, and you can't just have one story and be like, oh, yeah, well, MJF's, we're not ready to roll him back out yet, so just watch wrestling without any storyline for the next 5 or 6 weeks while we wait to ramp up to that.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense at all. But I mean, I would love to be hopeful that it's going to get better, but we have yet to see anything of
I'm
substance ever since
sure
MJF left.
I'm sure there's going to be some surprise moments at Revolution. I'm hoping, I'm begging that you'll say, well, we'll see the return of MJF, or I say we'll see something that injects story, intrigue, you know, anything
Yeah.
other than just, six 20-minute matches back to back to back.
Then good night.
Maybe. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
that's one thing for an indie promotion, who has one show a month. It's yet another for a nationally syndicated television program that's on every week with 2 hours on Wednesday, 2 hours on Friday, and 2 hours on Saturday.
I mean, you got to have something.
Make it matter, please. Make it matter. Yeah, but hey, there's my botch. Surly old man, grouchy, grumbly. Probably nothing new that anybody else has not already heard from me before. But if you don't like it, shut it.
Exactly. I mean, yeah, I'm sure a lot of people feel the same way too. But hopefully
But
that we
make
get
sure to
more.
subscribe.
Exactly. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. That is our episode for this week. Like we always say, go check us on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Go check out our content and subscribe, like, and comment everything that we have. But also check out all the upcoming events that we've got listed up there. If you want to check out anything else, go to our social media. More events will be coming up soon. But like we always say, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And as always, keep 5 stars.